Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Easy Peasy Vocab. Today we are going to learn about indirect objects and intransitive verbs. So in the picture you can see a girl made a cake for her mom. She looks so happy. Tina made her mom a cake. So we are going to classify such sentences in this video and we are going to identify the indirect object. And the most confusing and important thing we are going to discuss in this video is the difference between the prepositional phrase, the object of the preposition, and an indirect object. Now let's see what an indirect object is. An indirect object answers the question to whom or for whom the action was done. It always comes before a direct object. It is labeled with the abbreviation IO. So do you remember what we labeled the direct object in the last video? It is DO, right? So indirect object is labeled with the abbreviation IO. The formula for finding an indirect object is first find the subject of the sentence. So we need to find the subject noun. Second, find the transitive verb. So to find the transitive verb, you need to see if the sentence has a direct object, right? Third, say the subject and the predicate and then ask to whom or for whom. If a word answers that question, it is an indirect object. So from this, we can say that to have an indirect object in the sentence, we need to have a direct object and a transitive verb as well. Clear? Now let's see an example. Example 1 of indirect object. So in the picture, what do you see? You see a guide explaining to all the tourists, right? Tourists paid the guide's fees. So here the subject noun is tourists, and to find the direct object, what should we ask? We need to ask the question what after the verb paid. So what is the verb in the sentence? Tourists paid. Paid is the verb. So we need to ask a question what. To find the direct object, we ask tourists paid what? The answer is fees. So fees would be the direct object. And to find the indirect object, now let's ask the question to whom? Tourists paid the fees to whom? They paid the fees to the guide, right? So guide would be the indirect object. Note, indirect objects appear only in sentences that have a direct object and a transitive verb. Let's see the second example. Example 2 of indirect object. So in the image, you can see 3 friends and there are some cards, postcards, right? Rachel bought her friends postcards. So Rachel is a subject noun. What is the verb in this sentence? Bought. To find the direct object, what do we need to do? We need to ask the question, what after the word bought? The direct object in the sentence would be, so let's ask this question. Rachel bought what? Rachel bought postcards. So your answer is postcards, and postcards would be the direct object. And to find the indirect object, let's ask the question to whom? Rachel bought postcards to whom? To her friends. So friends would be the indirect object and her is the possessive pronoun there. Note, indirect object always comes before the direct object. So in this sentence, friends came before postcards, right? This is very, very, very important and the most confusing thing as well. Difference between object of the preposition in prepositional phrase and an indirect object. Note, with an indirect object, the word to or for is only implied. If one of those words is actually used in the sentence, a prepositional phrase is formed, not an indirect object. Let's take a look at the example so that you can understand it very clearly. Kate reluctantly gave Luna the keys to his new car. Here, Kate is the subject noun, gave is the verb. Now let's ask the question, Kate gave what? Keys would be the direct object. Kate gave keys to whom? To Luna, right? So Luna would be the indirect object here. And do you notice that the indirect object came before the direct object keys? And the rest of the sentence is to his new car. That is a prepositional phrase. To is a preposition. His is the pronoun. New is adjective because it is describing the car. We are saying new car. And car is the object of the preposition. Reluctantly is an adverb because it is describing the verb gave, right? So in this sentence, we are having an indirect object. Now, if you write the sentence like this, Kate reluctantly gave the keys to Luna. Here, Kate is a subject noun. Reluctantly is the adverb as it describes the word gave. Gave is the verb. Let's ask this question for the direct object. Kate gave what? The answer is keys. And you have your direct object there. But you got a preposition after keys. To is the preposition. And when you get a noun after the preposition, that would directly become an object of the preposition, and it is not an indirect object anymore. So to Luna would be the prepositional phrase, and to is the preposition, and Luna is the object of the preposition. Did you see the difference here? So, for the sentence to have an indirect object, you should not literally use the words to or for, but they need to be implied. We'll just have an understanding that it is for Luna or to Luna. But we are not going to use the prepositions to or for in the sentence. If we are using that to or for, that would become a prepositional phrase and not an indirect object. Is it clear? If we can say that she made a cake for her mom, for her mom would become the prepositional phrase because mom came after the preposition for, right? She made her mom a cake. Her mom a cake. So mom came before cake, and mom would become the indirect object and cake will be the direct object. Is it clear? Now let's do an exercise. Identify direct and indirect objects. Let's see the first sentence. Egypt gives tourists lessons in history. Here, Egypt is a subject noun. The verb is gives. To find the direct object, let's ask the question, Egypt gives what? Lessons. So lessons will be the direct object. As we have the direct object, the verb gives becomes the transitive verb. To find the indirect object, let's ask this question. Egypt gives lessons to whom? Tourists. So tourists will be the indirect object, and the rest of the sentence in history is the prepositional phrase because in is the preposition and history would be the object of the preposition. Let's see the second sentence. Artists made decorative objects of pottery. Here, artists is the subject noun. Made is the verb. Let's ask the question, artists made what? objects. So objects would be the direct object. As we have the direct object, made will be the verb transitive. And decorative here is adjective because it is describing the direct object objects. So decorative is the adjective and of pottery will be the prepositional phrase. Of is the preposition and pottery is the object of the preposition. The third one is archaeologists study the ancient tombs. Here, archaeologist is a subject noun. Study is the verb. Let's ask this question. Archaeologists study what? Tombs. So tombs is the direct object. As we have the direct object, study will be the transitive verb. The ancient, the is an article adjective. Ancient tombs. As ancient is describing tombs, it is an adjective. I have Vaishnavi with me here. Let's ask her a question. I'm going to read this sentence to you and you need to classify it and give explanation as well. Instructors taught students mathematics.
So here instructors would be the subject noun and taught would be a verb. Let's ask the question, instructors taught what? To figure out the direct object. So instructors taught mathematics. So mathematics would be the direct object. And because we have a direct object, the verb would become a verb transitive. And let's ask the question for indirect object. Instructors taught mathematics to whom? Students. So students would be classified as indirect object.
You nailed it. Great job, Vaishnavi. And if you see that indirect object came before the direct object mathematics. The next one is musicians offered the families entertainment. The subject noun is musicians. Offered is the verb. Musicians offered what? Entertainment. So entertainment is the direct object. For finding the indirect object, let's ask the question, musicians offered entertainment to whom? Families. So families would be the indirect object and there is the article adjective. The next one is Anthony bought a car. Anthony is a subject noun. Anthony bought what? Car. So car is the direct object. Because we have a direct object, bought would be the transitive verb and is the article adjective. The last one is today Anthony bought a beautiful red convertible for his wife. Today is an adverb as it is telling the time. Anthony is a subject noun. Bought a beautiful red convertible. Bought is the verb. Is an article adjective. Beautiful red convertible. Beautiful red is describing the convertible. So they both are the adjectives. Let's ask this question. Anthony bought what? Convertible. So convertible would be the direct object. And as we have a direct object, bought became the transitive verb. The last one is for his wife. So this is the prepositional phrase. For is the preposition, his is the pronoun, and wife would be the object of the preposition. Now let's see what are intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs are action verbs with a direct object. We learned this in the last video. But intransitive verbs are verbs without a direct object. Let's see a few examples. Cats ran around very quickly. So cats is a subject noun, ran is the verb, and we are describing ran as around very quickly. So around is the adverb, very is an adverb, and quickly is also an adverb. Here, ran is an intransitive verb because we don't have a direct object in this sentence. Father drove very carefully today. So subject noun is father, drove is the verb, and very carefully today they describe the verb drove. So very is an adverb, carefully is an adverb, and today is also an adverb. This verb is also an intransitive verb because we don't have a direct object in this sentence. The next one is the tired little kitten slept soundly today. The is an article adjective. Tired little kitten. The kitten is a subject noun. We are describing the kitten as tired little. So tired is an adjective, little is an adjective. Slept is the verb. Soundly today is describing the verb slept. So soundly would be an adverb and today is also an adverb. Here we don't have a direct object, so slept will be an intransitive verb. Several old men laughed very loudly outside. Here the subject noun is men and we are describing it as several old. So both are adjectives. Laughed is the verb. Very loudly outside. Again we are describing very loudly outside. We are describing the verb laughed. So very is an adverb, loudly is an adverb, and outside is also an adverb. As we don't have a direct object, laughed will be an intransitive verb. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment for more videos. Thank you so much.